That's a lifeline for Tottenham Hotspur. Tottenham Hotspur get 1 point, get a point against Liverpool. And this is mind blowing because looking at the game, that first half, Liverpool were all over Tottenham Hotspur. Tottenham Hotspur looked toothless, they looked mouthlet, they looked all bark and no bite. And of course, you then talk about the goal from Shobosh. Shobosh absolutely devastating people when it comes to direct set pieces. He has 5 goals this season. 4 of them goals from a direct set piece. He does it again. He did it against Arsenal. He did it against City. I think he did it against Bournemouth. And now he's doing it against Tottenham Hotspur. But a key part about this situation to think about is Richarlison just always scores at Anfield. If you're talking about people that Anfield supporters or Liverpool supporters dread looking at or dread watching, Anfield is Richarlison. Because while he was at Everton, Richarlison scored against Liverpool at the Anfield. And now that he's at Tottenham Hotspur, he's still scoring against Liverpool at Anfield. He has saved Tottenham Hotspur because Nottingham Forest took a point from Manchester City. West Ham took a point from Manchester City. And now Tottenham Hotspur were losing until the 90th minute. They were losing until the dying minute. And Richarlison steps up to give them at least a point. That is mind-blowing to think about. That is the way to move. It truly is. Richarlison, whether we talk about how annoying he plays or how lack of quality he is or how many chances he needs to score a goal, today he was the best player for Tottenham Hotspur. He was fighting from the beginning to the end, and we need to give him credit for just that fight. The fight that he showed Tottenham Hotspur fans. The fight that he put on for Tottenham. The fight, he was one of the only people today fighting, but I have to give them credit for the entire Tottenham team. Today he got it right. Igor Tudor got it right. He put them in a 4-4-2 situation with, of course, Vicario starting from lineup. You had Vicario in the back line. He went for Spence, Dragusin, Danso, and Poro. Of course, there was no Van der Ven or Romero, so he had to go with those two, and they did well. And then he brought on Souza, who is technically a right back. Gray, a midfielder in his natural position. Matassa and Mateus Stel. And in this midfield, and I'm like, why is he not playing Xavi Simons? Why in the world is he not playing Xavi Simons? But then I realized he wanted bodies. He wanted pace. He wanted people that would be able to make it very difficult to defeat, to make it very difficult to break down the team. And he did get it because Liverpool could not get an opportunity if not from the set piece that they scored, from the brilliance that they got from Szoboszlai. And then he did the 2 striking partnership with Dominic Solanke and Richarlison, with Dominic Solanke dropping in to be the support while Richarlison stayed up high. And the cool thing about Richarlison is that he loves contact. He loves fighting. He would fight Virgil van Dijk left and right. He loves that contact. He's played through it. Now you can talk about Van Dijk holding him in the 18-yard box, which on a normal day could have been a penalty. If he had fell, it would have been a penalty in my opinion, because that's what we saw against Mateus Cunha and Crystal. It would have been a penalty. If he fell down without taking the shot, it definitely would have. So we have that. But for the entirety of the second half, Tottenham Hotspur showed us that they can actually stay up because they were fighting. You saw Mateus Tel trying to do it all by himself. He needs to be smarter though. He needs to be smarter. He needs to understand that he can't do it by himself. This is not 1v11. He needs to be playing the right balls at the right time, because that was one of the reasons why I believe they took him off. And then when they brought on different players like Randall Kolomuani, Xavi Simons, Carlo Luisi, all of a sudden I started seeing them play a little bit more. There was runs. Jet Spence running back and forth. Danso running back and forth. Dragusin running back and forth. You see even Pedro Porro coming to assist in that situation. But one of the key things is that the bringing on of Randall Kolomwani created more threat. He became more of a threat because what happened is that they took out Souza and brought Kolomwani. They took out Tel and also brought Javi Simons. Now you have creativity. Now you have threat. You basically have more strikers than defenders and midfielders in the game. And that position, that throwing the kitchen sink at Liverpool, showed why Liverpool are in the place that they are right now. They lose goals upon goals in the dying minutes of games. They do not have what it takes right now to close down shop. They just don't. And that's the best part because they fired, they kept on trying, You saw the opportunities to Richarlison's headers, two of them. You saw the opportunity to Dominic Solanke, the opportunity for Pape Matar to shoot, the opportunity for Xavi to shoot, and they did not. But it fell to Richarlison. And one thing with Richarlison is that he might have 3, 4, 5, 6 chances, but he's going to score one. He's going to put one in the back of the net. And that's one thing that they needed. They just needed something from this game. If they had lost, it would have been devastating. Because right now, Tottenham Hotspur are sitting 16th in the Premier League. 16th with Nottingham Forest also out of the relegation zone. You understand? They are sitting 30th with points. Nottingham Forest has 29. West Ham has 29. If they lost today, they would have been on 29 points with Nottingham Forest and West Ham on the same points. And the funny thing is, Nottingham Forest face Tottenham Hotspur. They face Tottenham Hotspur next week. And so that game is like a Champions League final because whoever wins that game stays up in my mind. If Tottenham Hotspur lose the game against Nottingham Forest, I believe they go down. Because at that point, it's going to be just free fall. But if Nottingham Forest loses against Tottenham Hotspur stays up and Nottingham Forest can then start fighting with West Ham because West Ham are not giving any opportunities for nobody. They just drew against Manchester City. And that right there is impressive enough. So Tottenham Hotspur have an opportunity here. They have given themselves a lifeline, and that lifeline was gotten by Richarlison. Now go capitalize on it. The question is, do you sack Igor Tudor now that he has gotten this kind of performance against Tottenham Hotspur? Or do you bring on someone else? Because if you bring on someone else, he has to start the game. He has gotten something out of this Tottenham team, and that's the thing. Are you going to give him against Nottingham Forest, or are you going to take him out and bring someone else for Nottingham Forest? That's the question that I want to hear from you guys down in the comments. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that follow button, and give me your predictions whether Tottenham Hotspur will go down or they're going to survive. Let me know in comments. Peace.